What's up, y'all? You're hanging out with Yaya today, and we're watching Untapped Hip Hop TV.
Trying to get my life just right. Try to do the corporate but no necktie. Choking cubicles, eat my cuticles. Now tell me what you would do when you bored from a ramen diet. God, please agondize me. Premium paycheck, can't even afford safe sex. No getting what you doing latex. So no, I'm not sending much of my parents. No, they're not grinning much.
So what's up, y'all? It's Rane Raps, aka Mr. Hot Jam, aka Groovy Gold Boots. And I'm from LA, Los Angeles, California, specifically the 323. So, you know, if y'all on the edge of Inglewood, LA, you might be my neighbor. But even if you aren't, it's all good. Kind of, I guess, really raised up initially around Overhill, part of Inglewood, and then, yeah, moving to LA. So I've been around a little bit, Culver City area, too, going to school in, like, the South Bay. So definitely familiar with a lot of different pockets of LA. So, you know, if you're from somewhere, odds are know it. And yeah, I make music, specifically rap, soul, funk. So it sounds just like what I described. Put together rap, put together soul, put together funk, and you got me. So it's a melting pot of like pretty much all my influences, things that I've always strived to create as an artist. So yeah. Ooh, it was a lot of versions of Rane Raps. Okay, so Rane Raps, damn, I used to watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood a lot, so I used to kind of want to be a ventriloquist, to be honest with you, because I was super into like puppets and just different voices and stuff like that, you know, characters. And so I mean, if you listen to my music, you can definitely like get that for sure. So I used to want to do stuff like that. Always been creative. I used to want to be an astronaut, so I remember watching just like science shows with my dad in the living room, you know, sitting on his lap. He had a reclining like lazy boy. It was like an emerald green, actually, now that I think about it. But anyway, my dad used to sit me up and, you know, we watch, and I just ask him like a million questions all the time about everything. And then one day I just told him I wanted to be an astronaut, and he looked at me and he said, "Son, you could be whatever you put your mind to." And it's cool because I have an uncle who used to work for NASA, actually. His name's Howard Hughes. And yeah, my garage, you got his whole toolbox. So like, you know, I got some NASA memorabilia like at my house just chilling right now. But yeah, so it's just funny that, you know, I ended up having someone in my family kind of like in that world anyway. And so I guess it was just in my blood in a sense. But that being said, thing about me not being an astronaut currently, let's get into it. So I have a great fear of heights. So that alone is voiding all my dreams. Two, I mean, I'm kind of over it now, but turbulence and just flying in general, like, nah, I'm good. I would choose the longest route possible if it means I feel more mentally secure, which is why I hate freeways. I prefer the streets because, like, people drive crazy, you know what I mean? And it's more of a controlled setting if we on the streets. But the freeway, oh, you hitting them speeds. They don't know how to use their brakes. They don't know how to change. They lane with using their blinker. Can't do it. But anyway, yeah. So kind of not Bob Ross. What is it? Reading Rainbow. LeVar Burton. Yeah. So I was into a lot of stuff like that. You know, just like kind of putting my mind in a fantasy world. And really wanting life to be about like narrative and just creating a story and stuff like that. And so that's kind of where like a lot of my characters like Mr. Hot Jam, Groovy Gold Boots came from anyway. Because it was just like you hear about all these heroes or all these like villains or just like different things, like Book of Virtues or something, like animals who could talk. You know what I mean? Yeah. And not Bears, Same Bears, Red Wool. It was like a mouse colony. Like castles, Dungeons and Dragons, and all this stuff, and I'm just like, damn, like life is so dope. Like you could just do whatever you want, you know what I mean, and just be fascinated by stuff. And so I always wanted to just like really give the world like me in whatever way that could be. So pretty much ended up with music. But yeah, other stuff before that. My best friend and I, we actually had a cartoon strip. I don't think I've ever told anyone this. So yeah, it was called Robo Keith. So it was based on Keith. He was a robot. And then there was a kid, Jordan Tosin, with us. And so he was like some fighter dude. And then I came in as not necessarily Robo Cliff, but I was kind of like a robotic version of myself. And so we had a comic strip going around in 5th grade. And so it was cool because it was just like, oh, damn, like we're making our own art. People would actually read it. You know what I mean? And we would get in trouble though, because like the teacher would be at the board, but we'd be passing it between each other because we sat on different sides of the room. But it's like, if we had a deadline to finish our strip, we got to get our strip done. You feel me?
Production line.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. So it was just nice because it was like, hey, like we really got our thing going. Like we're not, I mean, I went to a small school, but we were quote unquote popular because we started that thing. You know what I mean? And then I remember going to, was it Kinko's? Because I sent my mom to Kinko's because I drew out like a grid thing. So we could have like endless supplies of comic strips. And then I remember coming to school with like a fat stack. And I was just like, yes, like now we can really just get into like, you know, our little world and like create stuff. And then so other people started joining in and like, it was just a lot of like cool stuff. And so from that, I understood like how I could influence people. You know what I mean? And regardless of what it is, I can really bring them into what I'm doing. And then, yeah, you just get people, you can motivate them to do whatever. And so it's just cool because like then you had different characters coming into our story because like a kid, Andrew Pratt, Nicholas Costello, Timothy Brooks, etc. Like all my homies now wanted to do comics because we were doing our thing. You feel me? And so like when you do that with music, it's dope because it's like, well, I might say one thing and now like somebody maybe 60 or 70 listening to me and they're like, damn, I feel young again because this guy is talking to me. Or a little kid, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, this guy's a rapper and like he's inspired me, you know? Like it's dope. And so now they go out and like want to be the astronaut I couldn't be because I said something. You feel me? So it's cool, man. It's cool. You know, I probably, sorry if I spoke too long, but nah, like, you know, that's who I was before this, man.
Hey, that's
like,
dope,
yeah, life is an RPG, you know? So like you just gotta be the hero, be the whatever you want to be, and hey, equip yourself with the right tools, you feel me, and go out there and slay the dragon, you know? I was raised in the church. I mean, my family's raised in the church, etc. So like, I'm not the most overtly religious person, but I'm spiritual. But anyway, so I was accepting a scholarship on behalf of my older sister at our youth Sunday. So it was the 11 o'clock service because I went for the 8, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to go back to church again, bro. Like, and read my sister's thank you. So I'm like, ooh, she owed me for this. You feel me? So I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, I'm going to sit through church and like, we going to get to it. So anyway, Keith had left my elementary school then and he went to First Church. And so he shows up with his school band and he's playing the triangle. And I'm like, is that Keith? Like, are you serious? What are you doing here, bro? Like, you're playing at my church and you're playing the triangle. So he was standing off to the right side. And Keith's a funny dude. Like, he tries to troll and parody everything. So he would wait for his, like, 1 or 2 notes in each song. And then very, like, expressively just hit the triangle. So you noticed him. You know what I mean? He might not be going through the whole 3 minutes. But when he hit his note, he hit his note. So it was just mad funny. And then so we got to catching up after I sat around church in the parking lot. And blah, blah, blah. You know, long story short, he gives me his MySpace or whatever. And then he has this list of raps on there. And so, you know, MySpace is booming back then because random people just wanting to be rappers, they uploading their stuff. You know, you might get hot in your hood just because, like, it might be trash, but, hey, you got something on MySpace. I'm going to rock with you because we didn't have mics and stuff back there. You feel me? So the fact that you could do it, hey, that's enough. I'm a supporter. So anyway, Keith had these funny like raps and I was just like, dang, bro, like he's still the same guy. Like he's a comedian and it's great. And I want to be able to do that because I'm dying over here. Like I'm dead just because of the stuff he was saying. And I'm like, okay, this is something. I like words. I like rhythm. And, you know, coming up in a musical family, at least some of my relatives. And so I was like, all right, well, if I get around Keith more, we start hanging out, he'll kind of show me the ropes. Because I wasn't really raised on rap like that. So, I mean, I knew music that I liked when I heard it, but I didn't know how to replicate it in that sense. Because if you asked me to make a funk song back then, sure, because, like, I grew up on that. Or, like, a jazz song. I mean, I can't play no sax, but I could, like, the cadences of, like, the horns and stuff. You know what I mean? It was familiar. Because that was something that I was just, like, naturalized with, per se. And so, yeah, he got me into it. We started rapping together with this group, Envied MCs. And so we actually have our first mixtape out. It's still on the internet. if you really want to look that hard, you can find it. But, you know, I'm not going to suggest you listen to it. But, yeah. And so kind of just getting into the game that way. And then the Cool Kids was kind of who we wanted to model ourselves after. And so just listening to them, alternative dudes. Because, I mean, we weren't selling drugs and, like, gangbanging and stuff. But we had a story to tell. So, like, oh, these are guys who are telling a similar story. We can learn from them how to present ourselves. And then, yeah, from there, not really blew up, but within like Inglewood High and oh my god, what's the Keith's Charter School? Oh my god, City Honors. We kind of had a little hit record, and so it's cool because like you go to these little venues around Inglewood and people knew us because of this one song, and I was like, damn, like this is dope. Like I could really do this for the rest of my life because it's just all love. You feel me? Like, I mean, at that time I was skating and stuff too. And so, like, I didn't necessarily fit the, like, baggy tee and blah, blah, blah. So, like, all right, I'm going to give my respect, like, just doing whatever I do, still being me. And so people are rocking with me just for who I am. You know what I mean? Well, Hot Jam comes from, because my dad, all right, we used to shoot hoops, like, every day after school. All right, so my dad, in preschool, he used to pick me up. He had a Firebird and a Thunderbird. We used to love Power Rangers. So my dad... I swear, school wasn't even out. My dad would be in the parking lot like, CJ, come on. When they called me over the intercom, he hated waiting for them to call me again because he wanted to make it home so we could watch Power Rangers. So basically, like, you know, just rocking with my dad. Always wanted to grow up to be like him. So we would shoot hoops. I still got that same hoop, too. So when we would play like 21 or whatever, me and my dad would like see who has the best jump shot. So when he missed, he'd be like, God dog it, or God damn, you know, sometimes he'd slip. And so it was just always in my head, like, I better not say that. And so one day I said, God dog it, when I missed, and he got mad at me, you feel me? And I was like, but Dad, I would just say what you said. And he was like, don't ever say that again. Like, you're a kid, you can't say that. And so Hot Jam was like me basically saying, goddamn, like, trolling my dad. And then I was like, oh, but like, I do music. I should just like be kind of corny and say like I make hot jams. And so then I was like, what's really corny? Mr. Hot Jam, like hell yeah. And so from there I was like, oh, Mr. Hot Jam, like let's go. Cause it's just so like I had this character called Practical Peter, but like basically it's whatever it is, that's what it is. You know what I mean? What you see is what you get. And so I kind of felt like it was me just like sticking it to rap. Like, all right, I don't need to be young big bands, you know what I mean, or like young brick seller. No, I could be like Mr. Hot Jam, and like what does he do? He makes hot jams. He's a guy, he's a mister. So Mr. Hot Jam, like that's basically where it comes from. And so yeah, and then Groovy Gold Boots honestly just came from the boots. I remember the first time I wore them, I wasn't ever gonna wear them again, man. They hurt my feet so damn badly. You don't understand, like just like I used to wear Dunks a lot, and like I mean granted I wore Chelsea boots before, but I never wore a shoe that had like a heel like what I do now. And so I was just like, Jesus Christ. I remember telling people on Instagram, I was like, bro, I don't know how women do this. My feet literally feel like boiled noodles. I had the post saved because I was dead before I posted it. But I was like, literally, that's all I could like sum up about my life right now. But I love it because it's so different and it's so out there. So it was me in one article of clothing, but I just needed to get over the hurdle of, damn, I might be going through some pain, you know, in order to break these in. But like, it's groovy, it's funky, it's like it goes to the core of like who I am, you know. And Gold Boots, I mean, hey, regardless of like, you know, if they fresh out the box or they beat up like the ones I got on right now, they still fire, you know what I mean? It's a statement piece. So honestly, like, yeah, and I'm groovy, I like to believe. So Groovy Gold Boots, hey, we doing it. The thing is though, at the end of the day, I know how it feels like going through college. I mean, don't get me wrong, I grew up and whatever, but I hated it because I couldn't just do music. I had to go to class and learn. I mean, don't get me wrong, I studied stuff I was passionate about, but still, like, I like action. You know what I mean? Like, I only learn what I need to know in order to get me to the next step, and then I'll go learn what I need. You know what I mean? And I felt like college, they just force you to sit down and shut up for 4 years. And I'm just like, but I want to be me. And so just being there and feeling like I was so restricted just by virtue of like not being able to live life on my own terms. Once I graduated, I'm like, all right, I got my degree. Obviously for me, but for my parents, they didn't sacrifice in vain. But now I just got to do whatever I want to do and I need to do in order to feel validated by myself. You know what I mean?
What'd you get your degree in?
So economics modified with environmental studies and geography.
Oh, shit.
So basically ecosystem management, international finance, and microfinance.
Damn.
Yeah. So for people who might not know, because I didn't know what microfinance was. Basically, quote unquote, developing countries, like they don't have access to all the capital that someone living in the United States would. You can go down the street and get a loan like right now. You feel me? So giving small loans to people who can support themselves but just don't have enough capital to like grow their small businesses in order to get over that like poverty kind of hurdle. And yeah, I mean in some instances you might have shark loans or loan sharks, who are actually taking advantage of those people. But when it's done right, you only charge them maybe a few %. And then, of course, you're getting some return in order to keep it sustainable. But at the same time, you're allowing people to prosper with the resources they have. So they don't have to take on either massive amounts of pollution trying to bring in like global countries who just want like cheap labor. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these people, well, in general, people are self-sufficient. I mean, the environments there are a lot of times untouched, but then they get taken advantage of because you have America and the rest of the world who might have the infrastructure. And so it's kind of looking like, well, do you want to compete on the world market? Their backs are against the wall. They have to say yes because maybe their crops went bad or like it was a drought. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so instead of giving them like the resources they need, you give them something they need and then they don't need, and now you kind of exploit them. So it's a way to like circumvent all that. But obviously you have organizations still taking advantage of people. I mean, me as one person, I can't say the world, but like collectively, you microfinance enough communities, then they'll be able to rely on themselves independent of whatever other people are doing, you know? And then they can come to the market, set their own prices, and fair trade can actually be fair trade. So they're putting in the man hours. They can get paid like an American instead of like getting basically no money relative to our living standards, and then we get in like all the you know, like actual material goods in exchange.
Yeah, the of the land type.
Yeah, exactly. So just kind of really having a conscious, not forgetting where I came from, and knowing that like with my privileges, I see poverty on people all the time, even within my family. You feel me? And so it's just like, well, damn, I'm here kind of in this elite like institution and whatever, and like, and so what can I do to really add value when I leave this place? Because I'm only here again for these 4 years, but this is gonna set the tone for the rest of my life. Because like, why come here to waste time? You know what I mean? I need to take full advantage. Because bro, honestly, like my school had slaves and everything. Like it's slaves buried under my campus. Like I kid you not, they were doing like science experiments on black people. You feel me? And so it's like, well, I'm trying to flip the narrative on its head. And like my ancestors died in vain here, so how can I do something to like better my situation and bring my people like to some kind of freedom? Because I know that these people didn't have a choice, you know, way back then. And so it's kind of like it's a slap in the face if I go here and just waste it. You know what I mean? Because I'm really not supposed to be here, quote unquote. So I need to take full advantage of it. So yeah, just kind of always trying to really be selfless and look at it from end to end. Like here's where I start and here's where I finish, and I want to make sure that I take advantage of every opportunity in order to get there. And so yeah, man, yeah.
That's like a whole nother side of you.
Yeah. Nah, like business, and I mean it kind of sounds weird because people think business and just think capitalism, but no, like I'm always about community empowerment, and like I definitely try to represent that in my music. Like I'm not the most business savvy, and I'm not the most, I guess, quote unquote, artistically skilled, but I know my strengths, and so I always try to combine them too, not only in order to feed myself and feed other people. And so it's just like, again, going back to learning just enough, and then accentuating that with meeting the right people, so I can still do what I want without kind of feeling like I'm taking on the entire burden of my community. So Prince, me seeing that and being a little boy, it was just an eye-opening experience, because I'm like, obviously he's a dude or whatever, but he's just so free and so himself that I knew that even as a kid and not being able to like word everything and know why. I just knew like in here I wanted to be that way when I grew up, you know? And so I could just feel it. And so that was always something that I just carried with me. No matter what avenue I chose to like really express myself, I just wanted to be like in your face and like rebellious. But not rebellious just so I could get attention, but I knew that that's who I was, you know? Kind of like you meet someone for the first time, but you swear you knew him in another life. That's the experience that I had. And so musically, I feel like his image very much matches him sonically. And so it was great because I felt like, oh, well, it's cohesive. So me just studying him, I learned a lot because it was outside of the bounds of the funk that I knew or the jazz that I knew or the soul music that I knew. He definitely pushed the envelope and went above and beyond and pretty fearless. I mean, the fact that Prince was rapping, of course, he wasn't the best rapper, but I mean, you know, he didn't spend a million hours on that. But he could play every damn instrument, you know, like ever. But it was just cool because he was like, well, hell, I'm going to try to do it all, you know, if I had the opportunity, so I might as well. And so, yeah, just kind of taking that as an example, really like swallowing that pill of like his authenticity and really trying to relay it through my music. And also, too, Rick James, definitely a large influence, aesthetically, sonically. But even if I didn't make that type of music, I mean, he's a legend for a reason. He's just cool, you know? And I mean, I was trying to play his music the other day. For some reason, it didn't work, and they were playing Drip Too Hard instead. I thought that was crazy. I was like, I pressed Rick James, but Gunna and Lil Baby just came on. All right, I guess that's what it is. It's like in the past 3 days. But I regularly listen to him and just try to extract what I can, you know? Honestly, I feel like becoming covertly political. And also too, which is why, I mean, college was a large blessing going there. I feel like, well, being on like the governing body for the college, like, good Lord, I'm forgetting the name of it right now. But anyway, just putting in a lot of policy, you know, wanting there to be less sexual assault, less, like dangerous drinking, less, hazing, you know, stuff like that. And then also, too, just from, like, a black perspective, being there, doing marches, like, sit-ins, per se, protests, stuff like that, you know. I wasn't necessarily radicalized, but also don't, because I'm a musician, I have a different outlet to express my activism versus, like, the average person, you know what I mean? If I didn't have this skill set, then, yeah, I'd probably be out there at every, like, Black Lives Matter event, doing this, that, and the third. But I'm like, well, since I have a avenue to touch people in this way, I'ma just like, you know, they like the music, they might like the groove, but then subconsciously I'ma just be hitting them with some game, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a bar on my album coming out, rather be working in Wakanda with my kind and now I'm raising my spirit, glass ceiling raised over my brim. Like, I'ma come out swinging, you know what I mean? So it's gonna be some stuff like it's right in your face, but at the same time, Wakandan is like pop culture, so I mean, regardless of like where you come from, you gonna rock with it, but you ain't even gonna realize until you done said it, and you gonna be like, damn, like, all right, you know, like now I'm gonna look at myself in the mirror and how can I evaluate what have I got going for me, what do I need to correct? And like, I like Rane Raps, he's putting out a message, but I could still play it in the club, I could play it at church, anywhere, but it's still gonna like help me to grow, you feel me? Right. And so like, yeah, honestly, just politics. And really finding my voice, because I feel like a lot of people do it, but they're so like I guess on the nose that not to say that you need to make people feel comfortable with your message. Sure, like if you've been oppressed in hell, you uncomfortable your damn self. But at the end of the day, though, just how the human mind works, sometimes you might need to take a little bit off like the sting, and you can get the same effect just like by rewording something. So that's kind of something that I've learned like over the years. But outside of that, just becoming more bold and like, well, damn, if I'm a really be Rane Raps, I'm gonna be him to the T. Like, a large part of my creative process, well, really, I'm just always recording by myself, because I always feel like when there's people around, they try to interject, but not knowing my experiences, and I'm rapping from my daily life. So like, if someone tells me something, inherently they're gonna be wrong, but people don't get that. Right. So I just rather be by myself and avoid that. You know what I mean? Because the way I'm telling it to you is the way I felt like was the cadence of my life. So like, if something was da 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 da, I'm gonna give it to you like a machine gun. But if it was more paced and like whatever, then I'm gonna take my time with it. Like on my Project Diamonds and Pearls, which is also like kind of taken from Prince in a way, like very inspired. And so that was like about a heartbreak, and it was over a long period of time. So I have songs on there. It might be a little upbeat, but that's probably as slow of Rane Raps as you're ever gonna get from me. You know what I mean? Because like the whole healing and like breaking down process, you grieve in an extended time frame, at least for the average person. I mean, I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about her. You feel me? Like, nah, I'm gonna be hurting and cry my eyes out. So like, y'all gonna get it, and we're gonna go deep and like get into that depth and like really kind of swim through it rather than like it's a sprint. So yeah, man, just really like learning about the pacing of like how to do this whole art thing, and yeah, just really being like learning how to be an advocate for politics without necessarily feeling like I need to be the one on the ballot per se, you know? Like, if my people think I'm a champ, all right, I'll be a hero, but I don't need to be in the White House to do it. You know what I mean? Just like Nipsey, shout out to him. I mean, he did it in his own way, and like this guy, I mean, he's in history officially now with the U.S. in the world, I guess. But I mean, he did it in a completely alternative route. I guess he had no choice considering some of the choices he made. But you couldn't tell me his impact was any less than anybody else. You know what I mean? And if anything, because he's so human and so relatable, not necessarily because of like one or two things, but just him as a person, it just helped to really broaden his message, because you don't see anyone above you. You see someone who's achieved a lot right along there beside you. You know what I mean? He's always been a peer. He hasn't been like authoritarian, you know? So yeah, I always try to like put myself at the level of the people, because at the end of the day, I still like, I'm a part of the people. Right. Like, I never want to be.
You're with the community.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Like, I'm just a dude that rap. Like, I always say that, you know, like, I mean, regardless of whatever people tell me, I feel like I'm Clifford Hughes. I'm Rane Raps. I have a skill set that allows me to be Rane Raps. But first and foremost, I'm Clifford Hughes, like the citizen. You know what I mean? And so when you pair the two, great. You know, that's the best of both worlds, I guess. But like, I can't ever get outside of myself. You know, I can make what I'm capable of as large as I can dream, but I can't allow my ego to like, you know, push me to where I just can't connect with anybody, essentially. Yeah, definitely learn how to save money. 'Cause music, and I mean, I wish I was lying, but I say it's about 90% business, actually 10% about making the art, unfortunately. And I mean, I definitely am not at a place to where I can just let everyone like run the business per se, and I could just rap all day. You feel me? Like, that's the dream, but even so, if you're at that point, odds are you still probably not gonna be able to do that, you know? So definitely understand, make a conscious decision. Either you're gonna be a hobbyist or you're gonna be someone who wants it as a career. Okay. Either if you want it as a career, do what it takes, or quit. Like, that's just being straight black and white, because you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff like, and be paranoid. So definitely find someone you can rock with. And yeah, I guess like for the partners of musicians, sometimes we go through an emotional roller coaster. So if y'all watching this, just support them. You know, I guess we are a little different for a reason, but hey, that's where the art comes from. And you know, at the end of the day, all we can be is who we are. So continue to love us for who we are, and you know, it definitely helps us get through the hurdles. So yeah, that's the advice. And one more thing too. I guess I could send my man the link, but it's an organization called Indipreneur. So let me just spell it out really quick. So INDEPRENEUR. Look that up. Again, going back to not being lazy, you need to own your data and get a website so you could pixel people and put them in something called a funnel. You have the entire world, and then you have your most hardcore fans, the people who are going to shop with you, come to your shows. The people are going to be brand advocates, not just customers or streamers, but brand advocates, meaning they're doing your networking for you. They are the label. So a person like Chancellor No Name, they out here having whole thriving careers, don't need to take money from like Apple Music and stuff, because the people are who is supporting them. Not those who are just trying to take a percentage, and if your last song not hot, they're going to put your album on the shelf for the next 5 years. So trust and believe. You need to use data to find out the names of those people. Treat them like your life depends on it, because if you want to be a career artist, again, going back to that, it does. And then from there, you can take it to the top. You don't have to be the most paid or the most artistically skilled or even be on a Coachella stage. You can still make a good living, falling where you are, and just be cool with that. Because at the end of the day, your level of impact is going to be person by person and in the community, not how many records you sold and all that. Really doesn't matter. Beyond just putting money in your pocket and I guess putting food in your stomach. But honestly, just giving you the straight game, pointless, you know? I mean, at the end of the day, not even to be morbid, the world's gonna blow up. But you feel me? Like, what really matters though, you touched people and not profits while you were here. So definitely always put the people first. They are what keeps this thing going. So long-winded advice, but hey, I got a lot to say. Yeah.
Where can people reach out to Rane?
You can reach me on everything at Rane Raps. That's RANE RAPS. And yeah, just look for the pink background and me posing. And yeah, hit your boy up. And yeah, just to plug this real quick, I got an album coming out this year called Phone in Tyrone Hand. So again, going back to the rap soul funk, you'll definitely be able to understand me as a person, me as a musician, and get something definitely new that you haven't heard before, because we really rapping and yeah, it's gonna be great. So look out for that in the coming months, and appreciate everybody that's been supporting me. Shout out to Untapped Hip Hop. Appreciate the opportunity. All right, y'all. So focus on my grind, never let my cap turn. An election note take from Nigel Ratburn. Working to author my own saga, not a guinea in a race that we know the rats run, and the real friends which are gonna brush the dirt off. Get it out the mud, prehistoric bird claw, sore wall with your nice watch, friend of me apply, but your crow's a feather, hit a botched bird call, oh, hell no. Nothing but love that we fell for, build a future, my vixen got Velcro sticking to me, she know I be well known. Find out my balance, stand up to the challenges, pain in the chin of my tailbone, but my mama said knock him out, watch him out, want the beef, leave your teeth whiter than Kel's comb. Brush aside out the hate that they popping me, overdose on joy, shooting up irony, hammer home, I'm the goat now with a long nail, a Lucifer's biotin, sharpen my hoof on the roof of a Mayan temple, cuff of shoes, stylist put Michael and lifting off, levitating my loafers, moonwalking the mogul, my truth in a trial run, all the interviewers who didn't hire me could never truly Hakuna the fighter me, rap money, to pay, face a new wave, looted Leviathan, key to a future that's padlocked, make a movement, abusing the caps lock, get the booming slap shot, hitting the net and successfully moving the mask off. Hey, and that's a verse. All right. Feeling like Goldilocks, trying to get my life just right. Try to do the corporate but no necktie. Choking cubicles, eat my cuticles. Now tell me what you would do when you bored from a ramen diet. God, please agondize me. Premium paycheck, can't even afford safe sex. No getting what you doing latex. So no, I'm not sending much of my parents. No, they're not grinning much, pressing them up. Blessings ended up in the outbox. Can I get enough? I need a break. They raise stakes, my degree obsolete. Soon as I got it, university ain't focused on the teaching.